The David situation has gotten worse. Literally, it says in the title. The reason why it got worse because the way how he, oofed off Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And since the second court trial has just been started, prosecutors are there. I like to give you guys an update. For the people who are watching the David situation, you can just watch me, please. Okay, I want you guys to know what I gotta say. But also, the second thing is that I want you to guys know that how much of a horrible this person is. For the people who don't watch it, for example, the people who are from my other country, Indonesia. And whoo-wee! Everybody, go grab yourselves a bucket or something, a plastic bag or anything. I got mine. It's not a bag, it's just lemonade water. It's more, it makes me ick, the moment I drink it, but nothing icks me more than the way how David murdered and, destroys this young lady's body. And luckily I passed the 1 minute, lineup, so YouTube doesn't go goofer up my A, because, there are some words that are definitely going to be censored here. But anyways, this is important information to you, and latest updates of how David did this. And I gotta tell you, and he is a monster from the beginning. But you might be asking, oh, how could it get worse? How did David become an even worse person? He already killed a young lady, and he already has 40 terabytes of cyberpunk, which we call it here cyberpunk because I can't say, child stuff, because, YouTube will probably thunderstruck me for saying that word, even though it's a word I need to say because in importance it. But anyways, here's the reason why it got worse.
Gruesome details in the killing of a 14-year-old girl and the pop star in jail for her murder. Prosecutors revealing those chilling allegations in a new court filing today.
Prosecutors allege Rivas Hernandez and Burke first met when she was just 11 years old, and they have also claims Burke stabbed Celeste several times and watched her bleed to death. In the days after prosecutors claimed David had slaughtered Rivas Hernandez, they say he purchased tools to dismember her body. Prosecutors say Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws, a body bag, and blue inflatable swimming pool to David's home, all ordered under a fake name.
Satan smiles and spreads his wings. If you guys know what ball I'm talking about. Literally, Satan smiles and spreads his wings and says, David, I am proud of you. You're going to hell with me, boy. Like, literally, it's American Psycho-ish ways of how to get rid of the body. Literally, literally what the lady said in the news, he bought 2 chainsaws, and he brought an inflatable pool and a body bag. So, you guys can probably, if you guys have if your neurons right now are pumping in right now, you can understand why he bought the chainsaws and the body bags and the inflatable pool. Because, well, I'm going to have to explain it to you in a scientific way, most friendly way possible, the YouTube Kids Junior way. And then, so the reason why, the reason that the pool was there is because, you don't want all that, blood everywhere spilling out and everything. The body bags, well, you guys know how they found Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body. That is truly some serial killer stuff. I mean, a few serial killers are probably some guys who killed the people here. I haven't even thought of that. It is probably the most disturbing ways of how officers and her family has found the body. Imagine the police just finding out that there's a mutilated body, and then he had to tell it to the family. What will they react? That is crazy thing. And David here, his mind is probably blank. His evilness is right there. He is absolutely already agreed to doing this. He is not going to put the cuffs in. It's like, oh no, I abused a lady who was literally he met when he was 11. She was 11 and abused her, S8'd her, and obviously, Celeste Rivas Hernandez is going to expose her, which is, he should have done the right thing, but I didn't know that David, maybe David did find out, or Celeste Rivas Hernandez literally said, I'm going to report you. But Dave, obviously, a person who is, about to be exposed by a person who he got S8'd is definitely not, oh, officer, officer, I've done a bad thing. Please handcuff me. No. Obviously, someone like David here, is absolutely going to do a heinous crime just to avoid it. His career is already there, and there is one boulder who's getting in his way. And instead of just, giving up and admitting to, obviously he's not going to do that. He literally just did the most awfulest way possible.
Say David cut off 2 of her fingers because one of them had a tattoo of his name on it. Prosecutors also allege they have text messages that discuss sex and an abortion, and text messages where Celeste threatens to expose Burke and destroy his career. In July, months after prosecutors say he'd stabbed her to death, Burke placed her body in the inflatable pool he'd ordered to prevent her blood. Turned criminal defense attorney R.J. Dreiling says David's defense team will seize on one detail.
They noted that David was sending text messages to Celeste after her death. They're going to use that to prove that, look, there's no way he knew that she was dead or responsible for it. He still tried to communicate with her after her death.
Boo! Boo! Bad argument. Boo! Boo! You want to know that defense attorney? That's boo. That's terrible thing. That's terrible evidence. You want to know something? Okay, listen to me now. Hear me out. This is all the this is one part of the evidence of David being guilty. All of the evidence there, the text messages, this is just a text message. Let's say this is just photos of the body, okay? And let's say these 2 phones are more evidence right here. These are the text messages right here. And let's pretend this thing is a hard drive. And the hard drive shows like hours of video footage of camera, and probably David, literally just singing a song. Imagine all of this is the evidence, okay? Imagine all of this was evidence on David being guilty. This is the evidence of David not being guilty according to the defense attorney. Here, the text messages right here. I know there's a weird comparison, but that's comparing like literally an atomic bomb versus a little ant, like atomic, like what I'm trying to say is this is huge evidence fighting is this is not a winning game here. I know they're lawyers, they're gonna have to do this, yeah, they're gonna have to they're gonna have to suck David's wiener here because it's their job, they're supposed to do it. They do it for the cash, even though no matter how evil the person is, yeah, that's their job. But I think anyone with a neuron can obviously explain this, like the reason why David, and I know, let me help you out here. Let me explain you like Dora the Explorer here with Go Diego Go. The reason why I text her even after I destroyed her body, I threw it away and got rid of her, is because I needed an alibi. I'm pretending to say, hey, are you okay? Where are you? I haven't seen you. Why would David, here's the thing, why would David text a person who he essayed her, who is literally about to expose her, and then text her like, hey, are you okay? I miss you. After he was, like, come on now. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, there are first reason. Now, the reason why I stopped in a few clips of those videos is because she was pregnant. And he had a baby gone. So David absolutely, wants to get rid of it, and David obviously got Celeste Rivas Hernandez pregnant, which is already crazy because she literally killed her and the baby in the most brutalist ways possible. She exposed her. He literally tried to expose him for being an absolute creep, an absolute abuser, an absolute pedophile, and an absolute murderer who's literally about to kill the baby. David is not being safe here, trust me.
On stage, Celeste's body, prosecutors say, rotted in pieces in the front of David's Tesla until investigators discovered the remains in September, 5 months after they say David Burke had murdered her.
And that's all I have to say about that's the David murder. She was pregnant. She was already, abused as aid. two of her, and I didn't think they showed this, I forgot to show it, but she cut off two of her fingers because they have tattoos of her. And obviously David, the psychotic mind, who literally doesn't want any evidence to go to this, cut off two of her fingers, and nobody knows where it is. Okay, nobody knows where it is, but there's so much evidence here, and luckily there are so many video footage. For example, there is a car passing by literally after Celeste Rivas Hernandez's murder. There is so many evidence. Even her song "Homicidal Romance" is just the second most popular song. It's literally evidence. The name of the album is "I Killed Darnell Simmons." That's literally David right there in the background, literally as the main character, holding a bunch of knives and weapons in a bloody suit. Now the reason why I'm all heated up here in my mind here, I'm about to go a cartoon style whistleblower woo, it's because no matter how much evidence there is still people defending David. If you can believe that, even though if you don't believe in leprechauns and you don't believe in unicorns, you can't believe that people actually realize that David is a not just the lawyers. The lawyers absolutely have to do the job. Even though if they lose, even though they're not going to get money, they're probably going to get executed by David's workers themselves, because also David did not work alone, because he definitely cannot do it alone. He bought 2 chainsaws and an inflatable pool. He cannot do this by himself. Definitely someone else here is someone's hands else is on dirty hands. But the people who are defending the David, no, there's not just a little, it's a bunch. It's because it's crazy to think, probably it's people who probably love David because his songs are great. They just couldn't realize that, oh no, the person that I really like, the songs that are really great. And I don't think his songs are really great though. His songs are alright. The Invincible song is okay, and Here With Me is okay. But there are definitely people who are literally not in their right noggin defending David. And it was like, oh no, you see the chainsaw here? He was just cutting down a tree. He was just cutting down a tree in the inflatable pool. He just want to take a bath. Why aren't you laughing? That is the most zero nothing argument. You could literally argue with a brick wall, and you're still able to win against a David defender. Maybe they'll find their way. It's literally just like like anyone's favorite celebrities, and they suddenly becomes a master criminal, and they still defend them. And even though if they are found guilty, they will still think, oh, he did the right thing. Yeah, imagine a David defender literally says, oh, David was about to be exposed for being a terrible person and who was abused, and then a woman. I think he deserves to kill Celeste Riva Hernandez, which is definitely not a great argument. That is a absolute nothing argument there. Bro make bars so good, he's going to get behind bars. And I hope David in prison is about to become dead. Maybe you have your own idea of, separate the art from the artist. All power to you, I guess. I don't really care. But you cannot, say that the artist is innocent at all. The artist is innocent at all. There's nothing there, okay? This is literally the scene from Coco when I would move heaven and earth to you, my friend. Salute. Poison. And then Ernesto de la Cruz renews that thing in the past to make his own songs. David is literally Ernesto de la Cruz. Alright, I'll stop yapping about this, but I just really wanted to tell you that you don't have to defend David, okay? He deserves to be punished, okay? If he goes to hell, at some point, maybe. If he goes to prison for a long time, then he deserves that, to be going to prison that a long time. He deserves punishment, okay? Because what he did to a 14-year-old girl, and this was happening 3 years, that she essayed her, abused her, and literally ended her life and tearing off her body, is now let loose and free. You can't defend this man, okay? You can listen to the songs, whatever, but you just can't do it. You can't defend this man at all costs. Because, how would you defend this man? He literally did a bad thing. Imagine you're the child, or you're the parent, okay? That's my message here. Just think if you were the parent or someone else who was there. That's it. See ya.